أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We are in the month of Sha'ban, the month of celebration, where we have celebrated so many wiladat of all the revered personalities. The height of celebration was the birth of Imam Zamana Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. So today we shall discuss a few things about Imam Zamana, because the Holy Prophet says, Man mata walam ya'rif Imam Zamanihi mata mitatan jahiliya. One who dies without recognizing the Imam of his time dies the death of ignorance. So in order to add to the already recognition that we inshallah have, we will be discussing a couple of issues about Imam Zamana Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif to add to our. When you talk of Imam Zamana, the Ghaib Imam, the unseen Imam, automatically the concept of intizar comes in. So what is intizar? Intizar, as I know, is a period of waiting. So sometimes I picture a waiting period where somebody has his arms folded and is waiting for someone to come from somewhere and do something big. So it's all about somebody somewhere sometime doing something. It's not about me. So I am just waiting. But no, intizar, as per Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, intizar, afdalul a'mal intizarul faraj. The best of actions is the waiting for the reappearance. Or afdalul ibadah intizarul faraj. The best of worship is the waiting for the reappearance. So intizar, as per the Imam, in these two different ahadiths, one hadith says it's the best of worship, the other says it's the best of actions. So that shows that it's not a passive waiting where somebody is going to do something at some point of time. It is an action that the person who is waiting needs to do. In relation to intizar, there are two terminologies, muntazar and muntazir. Muntazar with the a is the awaited one. So that title belongs to Imam al-Asr because he is the one who is the awaited one, and people around the globe are waiting for him to reappear. And the other one is muntazir with the I, which means the waiting one. Now when we look at Imam Zamana, both the Muntazar and the Muntazir are his titles. Why? Because he is the Muntazar, he is the awaited one for whom everybody is waiting for. And he is the Muntazir also because he too is waiting for order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that he can make his grand reappearance. So he is Muntazar and he is Muntazir also. The question is, what am I? So as I claim to be, I am a muntazir because I do small things for my Imam. So I may be doing my dua hujjat every day, I may be giving sadaqah on his name every day, I may be reciting dua faraj every day, I may be doing dua for his safety, I may be giving sadaqah, I may be praying 2 rakat salah, and all those small things. And the biggest of all is the celebration that we've just had of the wilada. So all those things tell me that I am a muntazir of Imam al-Asr Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Now, Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, if people knew what Al-Qaim will do when he returns, then they will wish they never saw him. So these are people like you and I who have been doing all those small things for the Imam. And then Imam Baqir says, if people knew what he is going to do when he returns, then they will wish they would never see him. But you and I are yearning to see him. You and I are craving to be by his side. Yeah? So how come Imam Baqir says that there will be people who will wish that they never saw him? And these are the people who were waiting for him. So I will ask you to close your eyes for 10 seconds and try to visualize him. So bring him to your mind. Try to picture what he is going to do. How is he going to make his reappearance? What will he be doing? How will he reach a position where he establishes peace and justice globally? How is he going to govern over the world? What are his strategies going to be? Bring all those things to mind. How do you see him? What did you picture with your eyes closed when you were thinking about him and what he is going to do when he comes back? What came to your mind? Did you see a flying carpet like that of Prophet Sulaiman so that he would sit on the carpet and go around the globe over the clouds? And yes, he can do that and he may do it, but is that what you saw? Or did you see a galloping horse with wings that flies up to the moon? Not that he will not be able to do that if he wants to, but is that what you pictured? Or did you picture him standing all by himself, waiting for people to be ready so that they can come under his banner and then he can make his reappearance and do the task that is assigned to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What did you see? Or did you see him killing everyone? Because the kind of things we hear that he is going to come, it makes us imagine that he's going to be on a black galloping horse with a sword on his hand and he's going to chop off heads of whoever does not want to listen to him. So is that what you imagined him to be? Did you see him killing everybody who wants to say anything to him? Is that what you pictured? Or did you not see anything? That your slate of imagination stayed empty with nothing to fill it. And you didn't simply see nothing in your imagination. You have no image of your Imam in your mind. What did you see? Narrations tell us that there will be people who will reject him. These very people who have been doing dua for him to reappear, these very people who have been saying Al-Ajal ya Imam, these very people who have been saying Labbaik ya Mahdi, these are the people, narrations tell us, that when the Imam makes his final reappearance, these are the people who will reject him. Why? How can someone have spent his life in doing small, small things for the Imam reject him when he comes? What will make him reject the Imam? So that is why I asked you to bring him to your imagination and to visualize his strategies and what is he going to do and how is he going to work and how is he going to look and what kind of things will he do when he reappears. Why? Because when my imagination holds one thing and when reality holds another, then that can be a reason for my rejecting him. Just like the people of Medina who were so ready for the Prophet who was about to come in Arabia. So much so ready that they came to settle in Medina. Why? Because they were waiting for the Prophet to come. And when the Prophet finally appeared, because he appeared from the Arab tribe and not from the Jews, they had pictured that if they moved to Medina, the Prophet would come from them. On the contrary, the Prophet came from the Arabian tribe and he was not from the Jews. That fact that their imagination was different from reality made them reject the Prophet. So, you and I, if we picture things that are not going to be the reality, then may God save us from that situation. But you and I might be in those people who reject him when he comes. So let us look at some possible reasons for rejecting the Imam so that we know where we stand. So the first possible reason is seeking relief without realizing the need to struggle and sacrifice. So when the Imam comes, the situation of the world will be so that people will be in so much trouble and so much pain that everyone will be crying for relief. Yeah? So we may be picturing Imam as somebody who will come and who will grant peace and tranquility to the entire globe and everybody will be relieved. Yes, good news. This is going to happen. Definitely it will happen. Yeah? So it's happening. Good news. But then there is bad news also. That this relief is not going to come without struggle and sacrifice. So the is we visualize the golden era, which is surely going to come. Finally, there is going to be a scenario of Jannah on earth with all the Imams ruling and the situation being so peaceful and so harmonized. But before that happens, between the Imam reappearing and the world turning into the golden era, there is a period of sacrifice we tend to forget. that we don't tend to bring to picture, that I will need to sacrifice in order for my Imam to be successful. There needs to be struggle so that Imam can be successful. So when I don't have sacrifice in my picture, and when I don't have struggle in my vision, I only picture the instant seeking of relief. And when the Imam comes, obviously where there is no struggle, there is no strength. So there is no victory without sacrifice and struggle. And the Imam will want this from us. So for me, somebody like me who will be expecting only relief automatically, miraculously, and when that relief will not come till there is need for struggle and sacrifice, then God forbid, I will be amongst those people who will reject the Imam. So the Imam is not just bringing relief all in. On the contrary, we have a pledge that Imam Ali alayhi salam has listed out for us. So when Imam Ali alayhi salam was coming back from Siffin, and because there was a very dirty game played at Siffin, Imam Ali alayhi salam told his companions, the handful who stuck to him, that when Al-Mahdi reappears, he is not going to take just anybody and everybody with him. What he's going to do is he's going to have a bay'atnama, a whole list of things to pledge upon. Only those people who pledge upon his hands will be with him. Those who do not pledge will not be able to be part of his movement. And that list of pledges, that also Imam Ali alayhi salam told his companions on the day of Siffin. So there are 25 conditions that Imam Zamana will ask us to pledge upon. And mind you, that will not be the time when I start thinking that, okay, do I pledge here or will I qualify here or not? So if Imam says, do not steal, okay, I don't steal, a tick box. Do not commit adultery, okay, I don't commit adultery, another tick. Do not abuse a Muslim. So I am very short tempered and sometimes I'm foul tongued and sometimes I do ghiba, and so I don't know whether I should tick here or not. No, that is not going to be the time to be pondering over the pledges because people do not change overnight. So if I want to be with my Imam, I need to study that Bayatnama carefully, and I need to decide to do all those things and move out of my comfort zone today, now, this very moment, so that I'm able to support him when he comes back. In return, my Mawla Amirul Mu'mineen also told his companions that in return, Imam also will make a promise to the people who pledge to him. How beautiful that scene is going to be. Where we pledge upon the hands of the Imam, and then he makes a promise to us. May Allah grant us a vision of those days, and may Allah grant us a tawfiq to pledge upon the hands of Al-Qaim. So Imam will also promise to us. And what is the Imam going to promise to us? The Imam will promise several things. You will pause at the screen and you will read them yourselves later because we are time constrained. So you will promise to stay with them and to dress like them and to keep a mouth similar to them. And there are several promises that the Imam will make. So it will be a mutual promising and pledging. The second possible reason for rejecting the Imam is being fed up of circumstances to the point of giving up on every ray of hope. So the world will be moving in such a dimension that there will be so much of turmoil and disturbance from all areas that those people living amongst hardships will be so much fed up of all the hardships surrounding them that if anybody comes and tells them that now I'm bringing hope and I will bring a change and a little bit of more sacrifice and struggle, and there you are, they will not be willing to give more sacrifices because they will already have faced so much of trouble. So there are people around who are homeless, there are hungry people, there are oppressed people, and there are people living in war zones. Such people who give up on life, who give up on hope, become hopeless. Then they do not want to see light because they are tired of all the sufferings. Like at the time of Prophet Noah alayhi salam, when Prophet Noah was preaching and he had a few followers, and then that the situation turned to where majority of people would poke their fingers into their ears when Prophet Noah would start speaking, and they would tell him that in their body language, okay, go on, speak, we're not interested, we don't even want to know what you have to say. So that kind of body language they were giving him when he went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said, "Oh Allah, bring some adab on these people because I'm tired." And Allah said, "Go build an ark." So he started building an ark. When people, his followers, saw him building an ark, they had some hope. When the ark was ready, Prophet Noah went to ask Allah, and Allah said, "I'm giving them some more time." So Prophet Noah came back. When the people, the followers asked him, "What happened?" Prophet Noah said, Prophet Noah was a prophet, so he had tawakkul on Allah. He was relying on Allah. He knew Allah was all wise, and whatever he would do was in his wisdom. So he told the people, Allah says he is giving more time. So if, for instance, there were 50 people, they turned into 40. And similarly, so many times this thing happened. So people went on getting lesser and lesser. So those people who actually boarded the ark were very few because they were tested. Their faith was tested and they lost in that period of waiting. So with people like you and I, if we also despair and lose hope on the Imam, then when the Imam comes, we will not be able to hold on to him. And the only place of salvation is holding on to them because the Prophet says, "Mathalu Ahlul Bayti kamathali safinatun Nuh." The parable of my Ahlul Bayt is that of Safinatun Nuh. So whoever boards it will attain salvation. And through tests, if we lose hope to the extent that we do not wish to see any ray of hope, then God forbid, we will be those people who will reject the Mahdi when he comes back. The third possible reason for rejecting Imam will be reliance on miracles and supernatural powers to take care of everything. So it's not that miracles don't happen, and it's not that Imam will not perform miracles. But if we have visualized that Imam will come with a magical wand like that of Harry Potter and is going to say abracadabra or al-kazum and everything will turn golden and the world will turn into a golden era, that will not happen. Imam is not going to use any supernatural powers to establish truth on the globe. He is going to work like a normal human being like you and I. He is going to use normal human strategies to establish justice globally. So if I am expecting him to do miracles and then he comes back to the earth, to the world, he reappears, and then he tells us that, okay, so I'm forming an army and I'm going to use these tactics and these are my strategies and these are going to be our weapons. And I look at him and I say, hello, I was expecting you to just say Allahu Akbar and everything would just turn dramatically into a golden Jannah. No, he is not going to do that. So if I have pictured him in my imagination that he is going to do miracles and turn the globe, and that does not happen, then God forbid, I will be amongst those who reject him. Miracles don't always work permanently. So temporarily miracles do have their effects, but they don't have a permanent effect most of the time. So when we look at the Jews and the story of Prophet Musa, and he hit his staff on the river Nile, and the people crossed the river. And look at these people, what did they do? Let me tell you the story of Imam Ali alayhi salam and what a Jew told him. So there was a Jew who came to Imam Ali after the Prophet passed away, and he tells Imam Ali, "You Muslims, what kind of people are you? Your Prophet is dead, just dead. He has not even been buried. The corpse is lying there, and you Muslims are fighting over Khilafat." Now this he is telling whom? Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen. He is the Imam whose rights have been usurped. But look at the reply of my wise master. If it was me, I would have told him my whole story and how my rights were usurped. But Imam is telling him, you're finding it strange, brother? We Muslims were fighting over the Khilafat, which is successorship to the Prophet so that the deen of Allah continues with leadership. So we were concerned about the deen. And look at you Jews. When Musa hit his staff on the river Nile and you cross the river, and once you have finished crossing the river, your sandals still have sand from the river, and you see people worshipping idol on the shore, and you tell Musa, "Oh Musa, can't we have an idol like this so that we can worship him as our God?" What did these people learn from the miracle? So, Imam Zamana, when he comes back, he is not going to use miracles. He is going to be a normal human being using normal strategies to establish peace and harmony globally. So if I'm expecting miracles only, there may be miracles, yes, because he has the capability of performing miracles. He is Hujjatullah. So I'm not saying he will not be capable of performing miracles. He may be doing them, but he will not be performing only miracles. So if I am somebody who is expecting only miracles, then God forbid, I will be one of those who will reject him when he comes back. The fourth possible reason is maybe something that relates to you and I. Yeah. So somebody who is habituated to prove anything and everything with science and intellect. So we are at an era where we want proof, scientific proofs for everything. But when you look at the knowledge that has been sent down on earth, we have two portions of knowledge. When Imam Zaman Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajah Sharif reappears, he will bring 25 more portions. So if I am habituated to arguing everything on scientific basis, and I want to argue his cases where his knowledge is 25 more shares of knowledge brought down, and I have only two, am I going to be doing justice to that what he is going to bring? I will not be able to even comprehend what he is doing. Even the science that we have today, when we try to argue out all religious beliefs and practices with science, they will not make sense. Why? Because does science always make sense? But is it possible for science to be wrong? Often, what science does is it presents stuff like absolute truths. So, science is just a framework for interpreting, systemizing, and predicting nature based on empirical observations. That is, when a theory is well accepted, it's a framework for understanding, it's a framework for predicting nature, and can always be appended with contrary evidence. So, science is not always true. Examples from history. For example, the ether was believed to be a luminous medium for passing light rays, which later on scientists, when they further studied, they discovered that there is no such medium. Or for example, very recently, Galileo. At his time, the church and science believed that the sun goes around the earth. So the earth is in the center, it's the center of the universe, and all the celestial bodies go around the earth. And Galileo believed otherwise. He believed what we believe today. And he said that no, the earth is also moving and the celestial bodies are also moving. So it is they are revolving around the sun. It's not the other way around the way you people believe. But because the church and the science believed otherwise, they put him in prison for stating otherwise. And what happened later? Their theories were suspended. So science is not always 100% correct. It is good to find things from science and be wowed by the science that Quran has already said it 1400 years back. Adopt the correct style. Use the Quran to prove science. Let's not use science to prove the Quran, because the Quran is the truth. Science is viable to change. Practice Islam because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought down Islam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wise. So let us not pray Salah only because science says it has physical benefits. Let us not fast only because doctors say it is good for the body. Let us not give charity only because health practitioners say it makes us feel good. Practice Islam because Allah has brought it down, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wise, He is Hakim. So let us not wear hijab only because experts say it gives us protection against COVID-19. Or let us not avoid shaking hands with non-mahrams only because COVID-19 experts say so. Or let us not wear our headscarves to the washroom only because scientists now believe that we should be covering our heads in the washroom. So let us not do things because science says so. Let us not try to prove the absolute truth because it needs no proof. So if we are in a situation where we are used to proving everything and anything with science, when the Imam comes back and when he brings stuff which our little brains cannot comprehend, and we want to prove it with science, which we will not be able to do because there will be a bombardment of knowledge when the Imam comes back, I might be, God forbid, amongst that group of people who will reject him. The fifth possible reason for rejecting the Imam is hypocrisy in our daily lives, where we lack integrity. So sometimes we feel that I have integrity, I have 90% integrity. It's only 10% kidogo kidogo here and there I'm lacking out. No. In Islam, it is either black or white. There is no gray scale. Okay? So either I'm 100% I have integrity or I don't have integrity. There is no gray line. So if I'm being a hypocrite in my daily life, I should be knowing what the Imam is going to do when he comes back. And I should be prepared for that. For if the Imam, when he comes back, he is going to say no to bribery. He's going to put a stop to bribery. He is going to put a stop to all corruption. There is not going to be any cheating zone around the world. Things will be clear as crystal. And I need to be ready for that. So, God forbid, if I am used to here and there cheating and bullying and bribery and corruption, and I find those things okay because they're only 30%, 70% of the time I'm okay, Imam is not going to accept that. So if I am used to those means, then God forbid, I will be amongst those people who will reject the Imam. Let us adopt the correct style. Let us be 100% ethical. Let us adopt honesty as our policy. Let us have integrity. Let us respect everything and everybody, especially the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that is what He is going to establish when He comes back. So let us prepare ourselves for His coming by adopting the correct style. The sixth possible reason for rejecting the Imam may be reliance on traditions and narrations without identifying the authenticity. So we have so many traditions and hadiths in history. So many things we hear from people that so and so Imam said this, so and so Imam said that. And sometimes we have a tendency to accept everything and anything. So when we Google and when we see something nice, we don't look at who has said it. Sometimes it is not an Imam who has said it, but we take it in because we like what has been said. Or sometimes it has been branded that the Imam has said it, but maybe the Imam has not said it. So in Islam, there are sciences to study everything. Sometimes we feel only secular education has sciences. No, Islam also has sciences. There is science of aqaid, there is science of fiqh, there is science of ilm al-rijal, where they study the narrators of a hadith. There is science of ilm al-hadith, where they study the content of the hadith. So when the chain of narrators is clear, all the narrators are trustworthy, when the content of the hadith is clear and matching with the Quran, then only a hadith is accepted. But you and I are not in a position to know all those things and to know all those people and to study all those people. So, how do you and I know what is acceptable and what is not? We will read, we will ask questions, but we will ask our questions to the expert. So, we will not ask our questions to Google. We will not ask our questions to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. We will not ask our questions to anybody who is pretending to be a scholar. We'll look for the right person to direct our questions to so that we know that the answers that we are getting are correct answers from the source of Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. But we will make sure that we don't believe stuff just because people believe them. We have understood them and we have authenticated whatever we believe. Because the Holy Prophet says that when he brought Islam, it was not a new religion because Islam was brought by Adam, it was brought by Ibrahim, it was brought by Ismail, it was brought by Musa, it was brought by Isa. All prophets brought the same Islam. But when the Holy Prophet brought it, people found it strange. People found it gharib. Why? Because through their practice over the years, they had distorted the practices, they had distorted the form of Islam. So when the Prophet brought Islam, it looked new to them. And the Prophet ﷺ says that when Imam Zamana comes back, Islam would have turned gharib again. And Imam Zamana Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif will bring back that very religion in its original form that the Prophet had brought. So you and I, when we have twisted our practices and when we have adopted Islam to our style of living, when the Imam brings a religion, we will definitely find it new. And if we do not have trust on the Imam, we will tell him that this is something new. This is not Islam. And na'udhu God forbid, we will be amongst those who will reject the Imam because he will be bringing a religion that seems new to us. Why? Because our practices are different from what he is bringing. So we must strengthen our Aqidah in this era. Gandhiji says that faith must be enforced by reason. Aqidah must have reasoning. When we study Usuluddin, we must ask questions. We should not accept Usuluddin because our parents say so, or because our madrasa teacher says so, or because our friends say so, or because our community says so, or because the zakir from the member says so. No, I have a right to question everything in Aqidah till I understand. Why? Because when faith becomes blind, it dies. And that is why we see when our youth leave the community, leave their parents' home, leave the, the, the community and move out of the country and they go to settle elsewhere, when they are away from everybody, they feel that they are free and they stop practicing religion and they start questioning God, na'udhu billah. Why? Because faith was not attained through reason, it was enforced by probably their parents or the madrasa teacher or their friends or their community who shunned them and did not allow them to ask questions. So you need to ask questions now, today, so that you strengthen your Aqidah, so that your belief in one God is so firm that nobody and nothing is going to shake it. So that your belief in the Messenger of Allah and that He has brought you the right religion is so firm that you are never going to waver. And your belief in the Imam is so powerful that when the Imam comes, you will automatically want to submit to him. That is the Aqidah you and I should be holding. If we do not have that Aqidah, then we're going to face a problem because, God forbid, we might be amongst those people who reject the Imam. Why? Because we did not accept them with reasoning. And the last on my list today is the lack of faith and the lack of conviction. So if I lack faith in my aqid, in my religion, in my usuluddin, so usuluddin allows us as much of questions as we want to ask. But where you and I sometimes go wrong is we don't ask questions in usuluddin. We accept it. Why? Because mommy says so. Why? Because daddy said so. Why? Because mother sabai said so. So God is one because everybody else says so. But when it comes to God telling me to pray namaz, now my questions begin. So when God tells me to fast and I am feeling very thirsty, now my questions start. So instead of questioning on the usul, I start questioning on the furu. No, that's not what is supposed to be the case. My faith needs to be so firm that I have reasoned out everything. So once I am convicted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one and whatever He says is for my benefit, whether I understand or not, then all His laws automatically become so easy for me to submit to. Why? Because I have accepted that He is the all wise. So where I lack faith and where I lack conviction is where I will be making a mistake when my Imam comes back and tells me to do something which I do not feel like doing because I have not accepted him as my Imam. So if I do not have the right faith and if I do not have the right conviction today, then God forbid, I might be from those people who will reject the Imam when he comes back. We need to understand the truth. In the Holy Quran, Surah number 8, verse 8, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to establish the truth and abolish the falsehood. But we cannot establish something without understanding it. So we need to distinguish between truth and falsehood so that we are able to establish truth today and abolish all falsehood from our lives today so that our lifestyle is matching that of the Imam so that when he comes back, it is easy for me to stand up and say, Labbaik ya Mahdi, because I had always been doing that. So we need to plan well. We need to sit and set our goals. What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? What did I visualize about my Imam? How do I want to be with him? Dream big. Dream of being with him. Dream of pledging allegiance at his hands. Dream of being a part of his movement. Then set your goals. Let us set our goals. And let us take action because the time for action is the time for intizar. أفضل الأعمال انتظار الفرج. Let us take action today and do active intizar so that we are ready with ourselves, with our bodies, with our minds, with our hearts. Everything is aligned together, and I'm ready to say labbaik with action. I'm ready to pledge upon the hands of my Imam when he reappears. So let us do active intizar today, now, this very moment. Intizar means loving Islam, loving Islamic values. Intizar means the desire to establish the core values of Islam globally, based on Tawheed, based on Nubuwah, based on Imamah, based on Wilayah, where the Imam governs globally and all of us are under his governorship. When we picture that vision and when we target to move towards loving Islam and Islam establishing globally, that is the meaning of intizar. And when I am doing an active intizar, that is when I will be able to say labbaik ya Mahdi wholeheartedly, and I will insha'Allah, not be amongst those people who reject the Mahdi. And I will not be amongst those people who Imam Bakir says will wish that they never saw him, because our eyes yearn to see him, our hearts long to be by the Master. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you for listening to me.